What's up, you damn nerd?
Hey, now that I've got your attention. Hey guys, I am Genevieve and welcome back to another video. Or if you do happen to be new here, I'm Genevieve. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Nerd Central. So if you are new here and you haven't been around on my channel before, you might not know that I have a wee bit of an obsession with My Hero Academia. Well, you don't say. That actually wasn't planned, but it suits. And I actually saw a few other people do this on TikTok and I was like, I have to do that. And if you read the title, you know exactly what that is. Today I am going to show you how I personally made King Explosion Murder himself, Katsuki Bakugou. He's a bit tall. I'm not gonna lie, he wasn't supposed to end up this tall, but like, it is what it is. So without further ado, let's get ready to rumble. Or craft. Before we get into the video, I just wanted to say, are you subscribed yet? You know, sometimes YouTube unsubscribes people, or you just might be new, so you might want to just go down there, you know, click the subscribe button. Why not? We could be friends. We could be mutuals. Hey, I'm just saying. Anyway, continue. So first things first, we need to gather our materials. So what you will need is access to a printer first and foremost. If you cannot print off Katsuki, you're not gonna have Katsuki. Second of all, this uses a lot of paper. So you might want to go buy a stack of paper for yourself before you waste all your parents' paper. Second, you are going to need a glue stick. Just a regular stick glue works. I didn't use PVA because if you have used PVA in paper before, it tends to ripple the paper because it absorbs the moisture. So I don't know about PVA, but a glue stick that you just find anywhere will do. You will need an X-Acto knife or what do you call it? Stanley knife? Craft knife? The sharper the better. If you have a blunt craft knife, this is gonna be long. You'll also need some scissors to actually cut out the paper. And I believe that is everything. Let's get to the method. So first off, you have to find your image. You can find any image you want, but if you want to use the same image that I have here, there is a PDF file in the description below that you can print off, and then you don't have to do any of the size or measuring works. Just be warned, he does end up quite tall. He does end up quite tall. Okay, so I'm not like exactly sure what happened, but I still have all this to do. He big. Oh no. For reference, I'm 5'9", so he's like about 6'3", 6'4", which, you know, if you like a tall man's, isn't a problem. Once you have printed off all the paper, make sure to keep them in order, because I didn't as I was rifling through it, and it was a little bit tricky to measure everything up. Second of all, you're gonna start cutting everything out. When you do this, make sure you just cut the outside perimeter of the shape, which is this, because you're gonna need some of those inside tabs when you're gonna stick them all together. And even though you will be cutting some of them off later, it's better just to keep them all there for now. You can either cut them all out or you can just cut them out as you go, which I kind of did a bit of both. So I cut out probably like the first third of his body, and then I just started cutting each individual piece as I went along. When you come to piecing everything together, you're gonna need to be able to stick them together. So the inside pieces will have about a 2 centimeter gap, which is the tab that you're gonna be gluing onto the paper. Just make sure that you leave tabs for your next piece to go on. I recommend just leaving the bottom tab and kind of the right side. That way each new piece that you stick on will just go from left to right and you can just work your way down like that. Once you have your entire Katsuki Bakugou glued together, you can admire him for a second. But not for too long, because we still got a lot of work to do. On to the backboard. So I just used normal cardboard for this because thankfully I work at a bakery, so I was able to get a massive box from work. I've only just now realized the hindrance I've actually made for myself. The only thing with using cardboard is it is a little bit more flimsy and a bit harder to cut because it's got that like layered, yeah, you know what cardboard looks like. The only thing is it is more accessible and a lot cheaper. But what I would recommend using after my experience with this is just those like science boards that you guys use for science. The display boards, you know, you find them at like craft stores and things like that. I'd recommend those because they're more sturdy, probably a lot easier to cut, and prettier. But anyway, no matter what sort of backing material you're using, make sure it is long enough to fit the entire length of your paper cutout. Now just take a Vivid, Sharpie, pen, whatever you need, and trace around that. You don't have to be like exactly particular, but try and get it as close as you can. Because I guarantee when you're cutting this out, you're probably gonna cut into some bits that you shouldn't have, or cut too far out. So this is just your basic guidelines for now, because you're probably gonna have to alter it later. Whether you decided to use cardboard like me or not, what I did next was paint the cardboard black. Hey, editing Jen here. I don't know how I missed this entire step, but you gotta cut the cardboard out. I went straight from outline to painting the border black, but no, you're gonna use a Stanley knife and you're gonna cut it all out.
That's what the whole point of having a Stanley knife was for.
As you saw, I was cutting my thing out in the hallway. I made sure to have a piece of cardboard under where I was cutting so I didn't cut through onto the carpet. Please do the same thing. And once again, I would suggest using the science board because as you can see by the state of my hallway, I did end up with quite a bit of a mess. And I reckon if you had the science board, you'd be able to like cut cleaner lines and things like that considering it's plastic. So, you know, each to their own for discretion, but that's just Jen's helpful hint. But anyway, back to the regular scheduled programming. Your board is now cut out. You're painting the edges black. Alright, take over. What I did next was paint the cardboard black. This is because all those kind of rough brown edges just weren't really that aesthetically pleasing. I wasn't vibing with it, you know? So I just tried to get into all the edges that I could and just make it more slick. Especially because my Katsuki is wearing a black suit, so it kind of blends, you know? It's all about the aesthetic. To make the stand, I then just took 2 side bits from the box that I had and stuck them on. Once again, the way I did it, I probably wouldn't recommend because my stand is kind of short and I had to end up adding reinforcement dowels into it, but that was all the cardboard I had left, so I couldn't make a bigger one. So what I would recommend doing is making a stand that goes 2/3 of the way up the body and kind of like that sort of shape, you know? Yeah. Whether that was a good explanation or not, I don't know. In my head it makes sense. But you just need a big enough stand to support the weight of this. Otherwise, if you have a small stand like I did, you're either going to have to put reinforcement into it or he's gonna start bending over time. And he's gonna start doing the Michael Jackson but in reverse. Once everything is dry, set, complete, it's time to glue your paper Katsuki to your cardboard Katsuki. If you guys have ever covered your school books or whatnot, that's essentially the same technique I used. Do you guys even cover school books still? Like, is that still a thing? I haven't been in school in 5 years. I'm an adult. Oh! Well, if that reference just totally went over your head, then ignore it and I'll explain it like this. Essentially, I started at the feet and you're going to put a bit of glue down, line it up, and slowly push it flat so there's no bubbles or anything like that underneath. You're also probably gonna use like half a glue stick doing this, so you might need to buy 2 glue sticks. I would also prioritize putting a lot of glue on the edges and kind of like only a bit through the middle because essentially if there's no glue on the edges it's gonna start peeling in and looking bad within no time, whereas the middle, if the edges are stuck, it might like come off, but like you're not really gonna notice in the middle. So if you want to save your glue, that's how to do it. Make sure you do line it up properly though, because my one personally, I'm not that much of a perfectionist. So it did end up being like a little bit off, but because I painted it black, it just kind of makes like a nice shadow. If you see on his hair there, all that black is just because it didn't line up. But at the end of the day, it's not gonna be that bad. Then just leave him to dry. An extra step I've seen people do is apply Mod Podge over the top to like seal everything in. I didn't do that on mine because I'm scared. If you remember in the beginning, I talked about PVA glue and how the paper absorbs the moisture that's in the glue and it makes it all bumpy and things like that. Essentially, I'm worried that's gonna happen. If you would like to try that on a test piece, please be my guest and comment down below if that worked because I don't want to try it. I am perfectly happy with my Katsuki as he is. But that is all the steps. It's a super duper easy project and I actually managed to do it all in a weekend. I probably could have done it all in a day if I started in the morning. It does just take a bit of patience with cutting everything out and sticking it all together, but you can have your favorite character or TV personnel. You could do this with normal people, but I think that's a little bit weirder than a fictional character. I don't know. Who am I to judge? But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you do this yourself and of which character you made it of. Whether it be another Katsuki Bakugou or someone else, I want to know. Let me know. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a like. And also, while you're down there, you may as well subscribe because I put out content like this every single Wednesday. And even though you now know that I do that every Wednesday, you may as well subscribe and hit that bell icon to turn on post notifications so you get a notification for every single time that I post. But anyway, that is all from me and Bakugou, so we will see you in the next video. Peace! Baku boy, Baku boy, Baku boy, Baku boy.